be. That's the good thing about it.
Everybody wants it though.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump right in. So today we're going to be talking about monomer liquid and polymer powder nail enhancement. So I am not going to say that whole thing over and over again. So what is monomer liquid and polymer powder nail enhancements? Acrylic nails. Okay, so I'm not saying that no more. That's a lot to say. Y'all understand what monomer and polymer is, right? Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, first and foremost, why you need to learn this particular subject. All right, as always, we're going to talk about the chemistry of the liquid and powder nail enhancements, which we touched on that last week. So we're just going to kind of skim over some of that stuff and just reiterate what you guys learned last week to make sure you remember it. Okay. And we're also going to talk about different supplies that you need in order to do acrylic nails. Okay. And also maintenance, removal, and repair of acrylic nails. Okay. Because I think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to what maintenance is. Y'all seem to think that nails should last 8 weeks, and that is not normal. Okay, that's not. Don't let these TikTok and Facebook and Instagram nail techs, fool you with this. Ooh, look, no lifting 6 weeks. What's wrong with you? Don't you want to make money? I mean, in maintenance, I don't want to do all that extra work because somebody else didn't want to come and get a fill in, right? So, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. All right. So, why do you need to learn about acrylic nails? Well, it's a very popular service. I can say this with my full chest that acrylic will never die. People, I don't care what they come out with. I don't care how many different nail techniques come out. Acrylic will always be around. Acrylic is king, okay? It's a very popular service. It's a very lucrative service, okay? People will pay good money if you're good at it, all right? And again, you don't never have to do acrylic a day in your life if you don't want to. There's so many other options out here. I do not want you to feel like, oh, I'm not good at acrylic, I'm not going to be a good nail tech. Baby, there's Gel-X, there's all kinds of other options. However, some people just haven't moved over to that side yet. They want acrylic nails. So, you'll also build a very loyal clientele when it comes to acrylic. Again, people will pay good money for acrylic nails, especially when you start getting into the encapsulation and doing all this nail art inside of the acrylic, not even nail art on top of it, right? But actually the acrylic nails themselves. When you start sculpting, if you guys learn how to sculpt and do really get good at it, there's the shapes that you can make and the links that you can make are endless, and I have friends that actually all they do, they don't even take clients anymore. All they do is practice all year round for one nail competition where they can win 50 grand on a pink and white French nail tip, okay, acrylic. Okay, so you can make a lot of money doing acrylic nails. All right, so it gives you more of a creative edge over competition, especially with sculpting, because a lot of people just don't do it. All right, we will get to actually sculpting nails versus tips and everything in a couple of weeks, in the next couple of weeks. So if you can get good at it, people will come to you just because you sculpt nails. I mean, I was an exclusive sculptor. I only sculpted nails, and all my clients, some of them, because I've gotten back to doing nails like 2-3 clients a week, just in some of them I've handpicked the ones I wanted to come back, and they're like, girl, I haven't had my nails done since you opened that damn school. And I'm like, why? They're like, because don't nobody sculpt nails like you. And I'm like, oh, well, that's sweet. Come over here and get this Gel-X, girl. I ain't got time for that today. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So, having that creative edge is also going. So at the end of the day, I always say, people say, ooh, monomer stinks. And I'm like, it smells like money to me. It smells like money to me. I love the smell of monomer, let me tell you. All right. So let's reiterate some of the stuff we learned last week. Okay. We're just going to touch on it. Make sure you guys remember the chemistry of acrylic, okay? In particular, acrylic. So first of all, we got our monomer, right? Now, mono means what? Does anybody know? One, right? Mer means unit. So one unit. Poly means what? More than one. Poly. Listen, we always have at least one poly student in here. And I'd be like, tell us more about this very interesting thing you have going on in your personal life. So we know what poly means. So poly means many, okay? So when the one monomer links up with the many polymer chains, then they become polymerized, right? And that is, what does polymerization mean? What do y'all remember from last week? Oh, polymerization is another word for what? Yeah, there you go. Getting hard. Yep. I'll tell my man that next time. I need you to go on and polymerize real quick. You didn't want to say that, did you? She was like, I didn't really want to say that, but that's what it is. To get hard, all right? To cure. To polymerize is to harden or to cure, okay? So, and we remember how that happens. They all come together. They form a long chain. Remember the snake reference, the snake game reference? It fills up until it can't fit anymore, and then it just can't move, and then that's when it gets hard, right? So there are several different ways that we use acrylic, okay? Number one is as a protective overlay, right, over the natural nails. So you've got your natural nail overlays with acrylic, no tip, no nothing, okay? The next type of acrylic way, or the next way that we use acrylic, is at a tip, with a tip as a reinforcement on the nail, right? Because back in the day, I'm gonna be honest with you, we had those full coverage tips, or we called them full well, they're called full well tips. And we would go to the hair supply store and glue them things on, blend them real good, no acrylic, no nothing, put polish on them and just keep it moving, okay? And so with acrylic, that reinforces the tip and makes it stronger, right? Because you can't actually just glue a tip on. I mean, you could. Sculpting is another way that we apply acrylic. So that is with a form, a nail form that we apply to the finger underneath the free edge of the nail and then sculpt out the actual acrylic nail, all right? And then the last way that we use acrylic is as small works of art, like acrylic flowers or 3D sculpting on the nails, things of that nature, okay? So in order to accomplish all of these different things, what do we need? A brush, okay? And not just any old brush, right? It's going to have to be a certain type of brush. Now, there are several different types of brushes out there, sizes, shapes, lengths, all that good stuff, right? You should pick your brush like you pick your man, honey. That's all I'm gonna say. But it is very important that you have a good quality brush, because they do make brushes that may, you know, be super cheap. We've seen them all on Amazon. Y'all love to shop on Amazon for your nail supplies, right? Next thing you know, you order, you say, oh, I found this $3 brush. You get it, and it's a plastic Canacolon hair brush, right? And it sheds and stuff like that. So you want to be sure, good morning, come on in. You want to be sure that you are choosing brushes that are quality, okay? Now, your brush, here's an example of one that you're going to use today, okay, should have natural hair fibers, okay? That is the most important thing about the brushes, that it's not a synthetic brush when we're dealing with acrylic, okay? Because when we deal with gel, that's a different story. We'll get there later, all right? But acrylic, it should be a natural hair brush, all right? And when you use this brush, it is immersed, baptized into the monomer, right? And then those bristles on this natural hair brush absorb the monomer. With a not natural hair brush or a synthetic brush, it's not going to absorb the monomer. It's just going to sit on top of the fibers and not really soak in, okay? So you need those natural hairs to absorb the monomer so that you can pick up the monomer properly, all right? So the tip of the brush touches the surface of the powder, and then you form what we call a bead. Don't say ball, because I will giggle, and y'all don't want to get me giggling, okay? So once you pick up that bead, then you're going to place it onto the nail, right? Well, this is where a lot of y'all are having problems, okay? Most of the questions that I get from nail techs, or their issues that they have when they come to me with like one-on-ones, and they're like, I need help laying my acrylic. I need help. It just goes everywhere. I can't get it to, you know, the beads are just, they're not shaped properly, or I'm getting it all over the cuticle or on the skin, and you know, the acrylic doesn't like skin, it lifts, right? So what we're going to be doing today is probably the most important activity of your entire career, okay? Because I know all of y'all doing acrylic, right? Every last one of y'all, and you ain't never did this activity. Lies. You only do builder gel? That's it? Well, you still gotta learn it.
Or gel else. I mean, I tried it before, yes, but I just left it alone.
I mean, why?
The ratio.
The ratio, right? So today you're gonna fix that problem, okay? You're gonna learn acrylic. Yeah, good. I love it when y'all are excited and not sleepy. I'm actually sleepy, y'all. I stayed up way too late. It was my birthday week this week. You know, I've been partying every night. Party like a rock star, you know what I'm saying? I was out last night. Huh? I went to Icons last night. One of my friends, she was singing. It was her birthday too, so I went to go see her, whatever. Anyhow, so you need the brush, all right? Very important. I have brushes that I've had for at least 15, 20 years. I still have the same brush that I used when I was in nail school, and I still use it to this day because I take care of it. Can't keep a man, but I can keep a nail brush. That's what's wrong with you. You just keep it in there all the time. You just leave it in there like.
No, I just let it get a little soft.
It's not wrong, but it ain't right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Okay. So, the brush is very important again. Comes in different sizes, shapes. I will tell you guys this. A lot of you are using brushes that are way too big. Why are you looking like that, Elisa? How big is your brush? She said, I like my brush like I like my man. Okay.
How you feel about the 12?
Yeah, I like a 12. Yeah, I like a 12.
Oh, you mixed me.
But you folks out here using these 18, 20s, 22s, 24s, picking up these huge beads and picking up all this, y'all are gonna be. I'm telling you, first of all, if you work for me, if you're working in my shop, and I'm providing you the monomer and the powder, I'm gonna fire your ass. If I come over to your table and your little pad or whatever you're using got more acrylic on it and monomer on it than the nails, I'm firing your ass. You fired. You got to go. Because you are wasting product. That's the one great thing about gel is there's no waste. You can't afford to waste it. That stuff's too expensive. But monomer ain't cheap either. This is why I give y'all little bottles and not big bottles, because y'all not about to be drinking my monomer. That stuff costs $110 a gallon. Okay? And y'all go through a gallon at least a month in here once we start the acrylic. And that's y'all in here about 4 days a month. Okay? So that's a lot. All right? So we'll talk about that in a minute when we get to our demonstration. So the industry standard, we talked about a couple of different types of monomers last week. Do y'all remember what they're called without looking up there cheating?
I know the one we got banned is MMA.
And what does that mean? What does MMA mean? Y'all about to get me banned. Y'all talking about meth and stuff. Methamine, blah, blah, blah. MMA. Methyl methacrylate Okay, methyl methacrylate. What is the type of monomer that we do use? And that stands for, go on, look up there, Anissa. I see you cheating. Ethyl, our good old Aunt Ethel. Ethyl methacrylate monomer, EMA. Okay, that's gonna help you remember it. And Auntie Ethel. All right, and old stinking ass Auntie Methyl. We don't deal with her. We don't deal with Auntie Methyl, only Auntie Ethel. Well, we didn't talk about a third type of monomer that's out there. Okay, and it's important that you know about this monomer because you will have to use this monomer at State Board, and that's called odorless monomer. Okay, odorless monomer is not my favorite. Okay, it's definitely not my favorite. However, you have to use it at State Board, and the reason for that is because when they're in there doing the State Board, they've got maybe 15, 20 girls in there, or guys, or theys or thems or whatever, and they don't want to have to smell that stuff because they don't like the smell. I told y'all I love the smell, right? And most of us do. But that smell can be very overwhelming to non-nail tech people, right? They like, I can only deal with it while some people, they don't even want to deal with it while they're getting their nails done. They're like, stinky hair. Put a mask on or something, you know, I love it. But, as far as odorless monomer is concerned, it has a few different traits. And my slides are out of order. Hold on, let me get to it. I think that's it. No, that's not it. Where is it? Where is it? Anyway, it'll pop up, but I know what's on the slide. Okay. Odorless monomer has a few different traits. Okay. Odorless monomer, first of all, let's talk about regular monomer. How do you know that the nail is cured when you're using regular monomer?
It's not shiny.
It turns like a matte, right? It's not shiny. Well, with odorless monomer, you be sitting there all your whole life waiting for it to turn matte because it doesn't. It stays, it looks wet. I have seen students use, because they don't practice with it at all. They'll just say, I'm just going to use it for the first time when I go to State Board. And then they sit there and they're waiting all day for it to turn matte. And like, you got to tap it to be sure that it's cured because it has a shiny inhibition layer just like gel. Sticky too. Okay? So you got to wipe that away or file that off. Wipe it away with alcohol or acetone before you file it because it's going to be gummy on your file, or some nail techs just file it off, okay, and screw up their file. It also has a very, very long polymerization time, meaning it might take where 20 seconds for regular monomer or 30 seconds for it to cure, or a minute, whereas odorless might take 3 minutes to cure, okay? So, and what if you notice between the three, you've got odorless, has no odor, and let's be clear here, it has an odor. It's just not, it ain't kick you in the face odor, right? It's not offensive odor. So you got odorless or low odor monomer. Then you have regular EMA, which has a smell, right? But MMA, man, you can smell that stuff from across the street. It has a very strong smell. So I tend to think that whatever's in that monomer that has that really strong smell is what makes it cure fast. Because EMA is like a medium set compared to the two on the extreme. MMA cures really, really fast. That's why they like using it. I mean, fast. Get you in and out the door, right?
Is it true they say
See, you wasn't here last week.
MMA is?
You missed it. She about to ask some questions that we did last week.
I'm sorry.
She didn't watch the replay. That she done told on herself. We giving you grace though, because we know why you wasn't here last week. But ask the question again, because I got distracted by the fact that it was something we already learned last week. What was the question? Is it true that MMA is what?
For dental work.
Absolutely. And also for bulletproof glass. Yeah, a lot of things that you need to be very, very, very hard and not nails. Okay? All right? So make sure you rewatch that replay because we talked extensively about MMA and why it should not be used. Okay. So it's right there on the slide too. It doesn't adhere well to the nail plate. Remember that. And so you've got to shred the nail in order for it to stick, and that's why a lot of these, chop chops, you leave out of those places and you ain't got no nail plate after you peel. You have to literally pop those nails off because it doesn't soak off. It's very hard to soak off. It takes a long time for it to soak off. Yeah, you can tell it looks gummy and shiny and it looks like a booger, just kind of like just not, well, boogers don't do that, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just like plasticky because it's a hard plastic. It's not meant for nails. Very difficult to remove, and the FDA says do not use it. Okay? Do not use it. So, odorless though, another thing that you need to remember about it is when you use it, you're going to want to use it very dry. Why? Because it takes so long to cure. If you use it very, very wet, it's going to run all over the place and you're going to be chasing that bead for 3 minutes trying to move it, keep it from running off the nail because it takes so long to polymerize. Okay? So, when we get to our demonstration with ratio, you'll understand what I'm talking about with dry beads. Okay? So everybody got those 3 different types of monomers that we run into. We didn't talk about odorless last week. We only talked about EMA and MMA. Now, let's reiterate some of the stuff we learned last week. So we got our polymer powders, right, which is the actual powder that we use. It is made of, what is it made of, y'all? What is the powder made of? Do y'all remember? It's made out of the liquid. Ethyl methacrylate monomer liquid. It's made out of that. It's just a powder form. So think about like ice, right? Or water. Doesn't water come in several different forms? You got ice, you got steam, you got water, you got, snow, but it's still all H2O, isn't it? Different forms. So think of acrylic or powder and monomer as just 2 different forms of ethyl methacrylate liquid. Okay, because I told y'all last week, you can make a nail, completely sculpt out a nail, right? File it with a fine e-file and have a pile of dust on your table. Guess what you can do with it? Put it right into a pot and make another nail with it. Why not? You just made the nail with it. No, that's cheap, ain't it? Just saying, I mean, y'all, I'm cheap, but damn. I ain't taking my dust and going. I can't stand when people do that with gemstones. I'll be like, well, you know where them gemstones been all these past 2-3 weeks. Right. And you want to pop them off on them Swarovskis. I don't give a damn. Throw them things away. Okay? So, it's basically the exact same thing, just in different forms. Okay? So, we remember what polymerization is and what you need to know about these powders, okay, is that they have special additives in them. And one of the additives that is in this powder is called BPO, benzoyl peroxide. Anybody recognize what that word? Well, not just peroxide, but benzoyl peroxide. What else do we use benzoyl peroxide for? Anybody? No one know? Anybody ever had acne, bad acne? Your doctor probably, or pimples on your face, your doctor probably prescribed something that had benzoyl peroxide in it. And what would that do? Just for deductive reasoning. What do you think it would do if you put that on your face? If you got pimples.
Like burn or
dry. How about dry up them bumps? Okay, it's gonna dry them out. So when you have a powder that has, let's just use young nails for an example. Okay, you people in the chat are so smart. They just telling all the answers. It dries. Y'all make me so happy. All right. So let's use young nails for an example. Their acrylic has well, they have their line is called speed acrylic, right? They got speed acrylic. I can guarantee you that acrylic versus some other acrylic that's a not speed acrylic, okay, it probably has more of what ingredient in it? BPO, that benzoyl peroxide. So when you see that in your product or in the ingredients, you know that is a product that is going to help speed up, or an ingredient that's going to help speed up the drying or curing process. I don't know why all these Indians want to get on my live. They always be trying to get on my live. I'm like, stop. Okay.
I didn't get a notification you even went live. I usually get one.
Well, you don't need one because you here.
I know, but you know.
I know you want to cheat and let the people tell you the answers. Because y'all over here like, what? What? Some of y'all had acne when y'all was kids. That's what it is. All right. So, it also will include, most times, unless it is clear acrylic, pigments, right? Some kind of color in it, colorant in it, pigment to change the color of it. You guys are so lucky. When I was in nail school, all we had, honey, was pink, white, and clear. That was it. We did not have all them damn colors and glitters and all of that. We had to make our own, okay? So keep that in mind, because think about, anybody ever use just clear acrylic? I rarely ever use just clear unless I'm encapsulating or something. But have you ever noticed that clear acrylic seems to like cure faster than, say, a white? Why do you think that is? It don't have all that extra stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, all that extra stuff, the pigments and everything, are hindering that polymerization process from happening as fast as, say, clear, okay? So keep that in mind. If you are using, say, or doing like a pink and white acrylic set, that white is the worst. I'm gonna just tell you, it's sticky, because it don't want to let go of the brush. It gets all in your monomer, and you're over here like, oh, why it's so milky like that? You know, it's because the pigments are getting stuck in your brush, and there's really nothing you can do about it, okay? So that's where, you know, your dapping dishes come into play. You guys, I know you've seen, I hate talking about this lady every day, but I know y'all done seen some nail techs like Lovely Mimi who have big jars of monomer like this, and they just dip into it with every client. First of all, that's nasty. And monomer is one-time use. So you should be having smaller dampened dishes like something like this. Even this is large, okay, for a full set, right? But this is what you guys are going to get today, which I really like. These have a top on them. So that way you can close it up and you're not, because you guys aren't working on humans today. So please don't throw away the monomer.
Okay.
Close it up, put it right in here, put it in your locker, okay? All right, because you're going to reuse that next week. All right, when we work on humans, though, we are going to dispose of our monomer the proper way. Anybody know how to dispose of the monomer the proper way? Don't you put it down my sink, Lord. That's what you're supposed to do. But remember that monomer is liquid gold, okay? It's not cheap. Every time I see y'all soaking up monomer, I just see all y'all's tuition money going down right in the trash. And that hurts my feelings, okay? So use a small amount. You can always add more, okay? Because you don't want to throw it away. It's very expensive. This stuff's expensive. All right. Moving right along. So remember, these words are catalysts. Does everybody remember what the catalyst versus initiator? What's the catalyst, y'all? Speeds it up, speeds up the polymerization process. And the initiators start it, right? There you go. So those are different ingredients that are going to be in your monomers and polymers as well. Now, the chain reaction, remember what happens when these two things come together. They join together, right? One monomer links up with the chain, and then they all come together, and that chain reaction happens, and this is sped up also by the BPO, okay? So BPO is that ingredient that's going to help, and there's the word in case y'all didn't know how to spell it. Sorry, sometimes I get ahead of myself. Benzoyl peroxide. Thank y'all so much for the gifts, by the way. They're over there. When y'all are typing, I try to slow down and like let y'all get y'all stuff out. Okay. All right. Now, this is something that someone brought up yesterday, and it is a thing, okay? Try to keep your monomer liquids and powders, if you can, with the same product line, meaning try not to use, you know, Mia Secrets powder or, you know, with Young Nails liquid. All right, try. If you can buy that. Now, I'm not saying it's the end of the world. You're not going to make a bomb or nothing if you mix the two. You know, it's not going to catch on fire. But these products are tested to work together. Remember, I just said Young Nails, they're known for their speed acrylic powders, right? Speed monomers. What happens when you mix a slow setting with a fast setting? What is going to happen? I don't know. Medium? I don't know. We just make like you in the kitchen making some dinner, you know, being a mad scientist. You know, like you can do that in the kitchen. You can say, I need a little more salt. But you can't do that when you're baking, can you? You better follow them directions. You're going to end up with a flat cake. Or you put too much sugar in it or too much, you know, baking soda, it's going to, whatever it does. I don't know. But think of it like that, okay? When it comes to chemistry, you can't just add what you want. Now, I say that because a lot of these companies do have their monomer and their powder and their primer and their liquid, you know, dehydrates the system. But some don't. Like, I love Sean Legend's, you know, products, right? He got great products. But, you know, if he didn't have a liquid to go with it, then what would you do? Right? What he does, but what if he didn't? You're going to use something. There's a lot of products out there that don't necessarily have their own dehydrator and primer. What do? You know, you improvise. But here's the thing. Don't get mad when stuff start going wrong, like the product breaks down and it's not, you know, the monomer and the powder, maybe it's the nails are too brittle or something like that, and they crack and they just don't last. The client keeps breaking their nails. It could be because you're not using the proper system, okay? So just keep that in mind. Is it against the law? Is the nail police gonna come get you? No, but, you know, don't get mad when things don't go right.
What are your top 3?
My top 3? Well, number 1, Mary Negron nail products.
So if we buy your stuff, will we have to pick it up in class?
Yes, and you get a 20% discount as a student on all my products. And I have a system, okay? So everything works together, all right? Number 1. Number 2, Tammy Taylor, hands down. Tammy Taylor is the GOAT. She was the creator of the nail product line. Very beginner friendly, tons of colors. She has an entire system. If y'all don't know who Tammy Taylor is, just get out. Sharia like, damn. Well, your homework assignment tonight, ma'am, because you were late, I'll figure out one for you, is to look up Tammy Taylor. First of all, she is my grandmother. Okay, I'm y'all's grandmother, but she's my grandmother. She was is to this day in the Guinness Book World Records, the Guinness Book World Record holder of the fastest pink and white sculpted set. She did it in 14 minutes from start to finish. Forms, laying it, pink and white French tip, taking them off, filing it, shaping it, buffing it, boom, done. 14 minutes, okay? So Tammy Taylor is the GOAT, and she's beautiful, and I met her, and she took me to dinner, and she took me to her headquarters in California, and I can call her on the phone right now. She'll pick up. I probably could FaceTime her. She's that wonderful of a person. Beautiful lady, okay? She's going through some legal shit right now because somebody tried to steal her name in South Africa, but anyway. And then number 3 would be Young Nails. I love Young Nails products, but they're 2 totally different. When it comes to Tammy Taylor and Young Nails, 2 totally different types of product. Like Young Nails, you got to be a professional to use that stuff. Because it's, I don't know nothing about it. Let me tell you something. You're not going to catch me out here just trying to try a bunch of new stuff. I find what works and I stick with it. I don't care about, because it's at the end of the day, most of this stuff is, you got to, let me just, in case y'all didn't know, there are three, I think it's three, it might be two, three, I'm going to just say three, two that I know of, the names of them, acrylic companies in this country. Okay? So let's think on terms that maybe we'll understand, like, you know, drug dealing. Okay? Not that I know anything about that, right? I'm just saying. I mean, I've heard things. I watch movies. You know, you got the big place, you know, you got like Griselda Blanco over here that gets her stuff straight from the place, okay? And it's pure, and it is pure, okay? It don't have no cut in it, nothing. That's what you get from these big acrylic companies. I tried to order, because I was like, I'm gonna get my product straight from the dealer, the person who makes it. And they were like, so do you have I was talking to him, he was like, well, do you have a warehouse? I was like, no, why do I need a warehouse? She was like, because we don't sell anything less than 5,000 pound barrels. Pounds. 5,000 pounds? What am I, El Chapo over here? She said, we don't deliver to home addresses. You have to have an industrial, like, warehouse for us to deliver, because we deliver ours on big trucks. And I was like, okay, well, is there someone under you, like, you know, Pookie from the block that I can get it from? And she gave me like 5 or 6 Pookie from the blocks that, you know, that they buy those big 5,000 pound drums, and then they chop it up, cut it, and put it in, you know, maybe 10-pound bag batches, right? And I was like, yeah, that's more like it. I think I can handle the 10 Pookie from the block, okay? So, you got to remember, now a lot of these folks be lying. They say, oh, my acrylic's made in the USA. Now, let's be real here. No, it ain't. They might have packaged it in the USA, which gives you, do y'all know anything about manufacturing? No. You can get, by the time you can lie and say, well, because it is a lie, oh, we're 100% made in the USA. No, it was made in China, but you shipped it over here, and now you packaged it here in the USA, so now you can legally write on the package it was made in the USA.
I don't know what brand.
Okay? I know some brands, I know they lying, because they get stuff from the same place I get my stuff, and it ain't made in the USA. Okay? And I'm not talking about my acrylic, because my acrylic, it actually is. But I get it from a bigger distributor who gets it from the bigger distributor from the bigger distributor, right? So a lot of these companies are lying. They're lying, okay? So with that being said, does it really matter? Most of these companies are just mixing their own. And Tammy Taylor will tell you that with her colors, she has a huge warehouse. She buys it straight from, 5,000 pound drums or whatever. And she's the only person who knows the recipe to the colors that she makes. Like my favorite acrylic color from her is P3. Which is pink to the 3rd power, like very pink, very, very dark pink color. I love that color. But she mixes it herself, or her warehouse, in her warehouse or whatever. They put that. So you're really only going to get those 3 colors, pink, white, and clear, from the big distributors. Everybody else is chopping it up and cutting it down. Okay? So do I care about all these different brands that got all these different, okay, so you put a little extra, baking soda in yours, and this one's pure. I mean, you just learn, I stick to what works and what I like and what I know, because I'm going to tell you, there's some really, really cheap companies out here, like, for instance, Trash and Tricks, Glam and Glitz.
Oh, Lord, I was about to say, who was...
It's pure pigment. There's no, I can lay a bead of that stuff right now. Boop. Now, don't get it twisted. I got a lot of it, because that's all you can really buy at Mr. Johnny's. At one point, that's all he had was Glam and Glitz, right? He got everything now. But you pick it up and you lay it down, and baby, 10 minutes later, you can come back and you can still move it and twist it. Like it's pure pigment, and it just makes a mess, right? It's not, and that's why it's cheap, because it's mostly pigment and not acrylic. okay? And then there's other companies out here where theirs is highly pigmented, and that's because their acrylic is actually colored that way, and it's not all that powder, okay? And this is gonna be your dip powders and stuff like that. You'll be able to tell when we start playing with different brands, and we will, especially when we do our resin, our nail dip powders, okay? Because not all powders are meant for dipping, okay? And Glam and Glitz is one of them, okay? So I don't know how we got on this subject, but yeah, you asked me a question. So yeah, so that's your assignment. Find out who Tammy Taylor is, and I want a full discussion next week about her. I'm just joking, but you should know who she is. There's my slide. Odorless monomer liquid versus liquid powder. So I already told you all that. Remember, I told you I knew what was on the slide. Okay, so there's the slide. All right, they have different chemistries. Odorless is going to be a dry mix ratio, and it has that inhibition layer. All right, so I'm going to skip that. We're going to move right along. All right, so let's talk about some of the supplies you need to do acrylic nails. Okay, first of all, you got your monomer, right? Now let's talk about this ratio thing that we brought up earlier. So the monomer, the liquid, in order for you to, what does ratio mean? Let's talk about that first. What does ratio mean?
I guess the way you measure out the equal amount to the liquid.
Right. So it's basically a fraction, right? Y'all remember fractions? Half, fourth, third. I hated it too, especially when you had to start like, I don't know. Child, where was ChatGPT when I was in high school? I'm like, what is 1/4 plus 3/4? Like, oh, a whole. Sorry. So we got ratio. So basically, that's the amount of liquid to the powder. Okay. Now, some teachers or some educators or some companies will try to tell you, oh, well, you know, just count while you're doing it. You know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pat, pat, pat. It ain't, you can't do that. I cannot teach you ratio. You, I can't put in my hand on your hand and teach you ratio. I cannot. Let me tell you why. All right? And anybody that tells you they can is lying. There's so many different factors that will determine whether your ratio is spot on. Me, I can practically do it with my eyes closed because I know my products. This is why, back to what you were saying, or what I was saying to you about using different products, I have no desire to master every product line in this world. Because every product line works different. I know when I pick up my Tammy Taylor products and I use her liquid that I like to use, how much liquid needs to be in that brush to powder ratio. I know, I can just feel it. I know when I use Young Nails, I got to let up off some of that liquid because it's more of that powder is very fine milled and it's very creamy. And if you use too much liquid, it's going to be all over the place. You have to use drier beads in my case. I know that I like my house to be 70 degrees. You might like your house to be 80 degrees. And when you pick up that bead, it's going to cure a whole lot faster. It's going to polymerize faster than when I can't teach you ratio. You have to practice this, okay? And this sheet right here, ain't none of y'all ever did it, okay? And I am not gonna lie, Tammy Taylor created this sheet, and I copied it and put my own spin on it, all right? Which a lot of people do, okay? But she created the ratio practice sheet, the first one I ever used. And that is why I'm an acrylic slanger. I don't care what brand it is. Give me 5 seconds with it. Let me feel it. Let me pick up a bead. Okay, let's do it. All right. I don't need to master all the different brands because I know what I like and I like what I like. You know what I mean? And it works for me. So practicing this sheet is what's going to change your ability to lay acrylic. Period. Okay? And this is what I tell when people come to me and they give me $120 for 2 hours of my time just to watch them, because that's what I do. When they say I want a one-on-one, I'm like, it's a minimum $60 an hour, minimum 2 hours for me to just, and I tell them to sit down and do a set for me. Let me just watch, and then I critique. And the first thing, they're like, I just can't get my acrylic, I can't lay it right. And I'm like, well, have you done this? So, and then I give them this, and they're like, oh, best $120 I ever spent. Problem solved. Okay? You guys get it for the nice price of $6,000.
But so
okay?
The little sets like that, like you have your little ones, can we buy it from you like that?
Absolutely. You're going to get it today for
But we
school
can't take
purposes.
it home.
You can buy some to take. I don't want you to take it
That's
home.
what I'm
You know why? Because you ain't going to have none when you get here, because y'all drink that shit.
That's what I was saying. We can buy it separate.
Yeah, you can. You can take everything home except the powder and the liquid. I want y'all to leave that here, because everything else, and then you can buy you something to take home if you want to. Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't sell it in these little bottles. I sell it in, these are your school bottles, because like I said, y'all drink it. So if I give you a big bottle, y'all will be drunk. So I sell it in 8-ounce and 16-ounce bottles.
Could we take that home?
Yes, that is absolutely, please take it home and practice it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I want you to practice with whatever you're using at home. What good is it for you to practice? You're going to practice here, right, with my stuff. You can bring your own if you want to. Hell, that'd be cheaper on me. I can tell you that. But I want you to practice at home with with whatever you're using in your environment or wherever you're doing nails illegally, okay? All right? I want you to. I just don't want you to take the liquid home, because you come back, you ain't gonna have nothing. And that stuff, that little bottle right there is probably about $20 right there worth of monomer, okay? So you need to have stuff to practice when you're here and do clients when you're here, all right? So, beads, okay? When we're picking up beads, there's 3 different types of beads, basically. You're gonna have your dry beads, you're going to have your wet beads, and your medium beads, all right? A dry bead, and this again, this is not always fact, okay? But in general, a dry bead is gonna have equal amounts of liquid to powder. It's gonna be dry if you pick up equal amounts. Now, how do they know this? I don't even know how you would measure equal amounts of liquid to powder, because I remember in science class that powder and liquid and these things don't weigh the same. But whatever, I'm just going by what the book says. That's why I need to write my own curriculum. All right, so dry beads would be equal parts liquid to powder. All right, now a more wet bead would be about twice as much liquid to powder. If it's running, and there are instances where you would need a more wet bead versus a drier bead. Okay, remember, we're going to do dry beads with our odorless. And then the medium bead, which is the most the kind of bead we want to use most of the time, all right, is going to be 1.5 parts liquid to powder, generally. Like I said, don't take take that with a grain of salt, because it's really going to depend on your powder and liquid ratio, your temperature of your room, all of that stuff, all right? Now, picking up the proper type of bead is going to ensure that your set has maximum durability, and also that it lasts, okay? That you have retention. If you're using really, really dry beads, let's just think about it, like I said, in terms we can understand. Let's think about when we're baking a cake. If you take all your dry ingredients, right? You take your flour, your sugar, all that stuff, then you throw in the wet ones. You got your egg, your milk, your oil, all that stuff. And you just, I don't know, do like this. Put it in the bowl and, cook it. What are you going to get? Crumbly. It's going to be crumbly. It's going to crack. It's going to fall. It's not evenly mixed, right? That's why we mix it up all together. So same thing with like a dry bead. If you're using dry beads on a nail, you just create a bit. First of all, it's going to be lumpy. It's not going to be smooth. If you do happen to mash it together because you're trying to force it down, right, that nail is probably going to just crumble and fall apart, right? So dry beads, not so good. Wet beads, if they're too wet, we know what happens when the bead is too wet, right? You're chasing it everywhere. You're getting it all over the client's skin. And what do we talk about happens when you get this stuff all over your client's skin over time? Well, it's going to lift for one. You're going to cause your client to have an allergic reaction, right? And then over time it will create an allergic reaction, and then they end up with not being able to get nails at all. You just cut yourself out of a whole client every month, right? So the perfect bead, though, the medium bead, which is what we generally are going to use, has a certain look to it. Okay, it's going to be round. All right, we don't want to. And when I say that we don't want it to be, we want it to be round. It can be other shapes, y'all. You're just gonna have problems if you pick up a bead and it's not round. Let's just say you got a real big, wide, flat. You guys have seen these people that do the one bead method. I mean, I can do it. I've done it before, but it is very wasteful. You're picking up a whole lot of liquid, a whole lot of powder. Your brush is huge. You pick it up, and then you're not getting a big round bead. You're getting like a big long oval shaped something. You got to lay it on. You see them, they do it, lay it on sideways, and then they're like chasing it down the nail like it's a race, and they're trying to pat. Ooh, pat. Ooh, it's running this way. It's like they, ducking and dodging, and they doing this thing, and I'm like, calm down, sis. Pick up a smaller bead. Like, it ain't that serious. Oh, she does do them fast with that MMA she uses proudly. She has to move fast. That's MMA. It will dry. And I don't get it. But, y'all like what y'all like. So, calm down, breathe, pick up some smaller beads, and, work. It just makes it much easier, okay? Now, it is going to be a perfect bead. Again, this is it, as far as the book is concerned, your state board is going to be, because they ain't going to say talk about one bead methods on state board, because as a nail tech, you really shouldn't be doing one bead methods if you're trying to prevent the client from having, like, what's that, heat spike? Y'all remember those heat? You will get a heat spike with that big one bead method, because all of that powder is polymerizing at the same time. And even more so on your nail bed, because your nail bed is giving off what? Heat. And heat makes polymerization happen what? Faster. So you might get a heat spike from hell, like literally, when you do these one beads. I'm not saying I never did it. I definitely did. But as an educator and somebody who's been doing nails for a long time, it's really not necessary, y'all. And it just, it's very wasteful. Again, I'm gonna fire your ass if I see you doing a one bead method and you chasing it, and you see how they do it? They scrape off like a whole nail worth of acrylic and lay it on there. I'm like, what is that? You got 10 nails on your damn paper over here. You're not wasting my product like that. All right, so when you first pick up a bead, anybody ever notice, and this is something that you guys probably are having problems with when it comes to laying your acrylic, right? You pick up the bead, you go in and you pick it up, and I'm going to show you guys an example of this when we do our demo. But you pick it up and you just look, you don't look at it or nothing. You just kind of lay it on the nail, and then it's like you wonder why you got acrylic all in your brush. Y'all having problems getting acrylic? You do, because you said it. You said, I soak my brush in acetone. I never have to soak my brush. I haven't had to do that in 30 years. And the reason for that is because practicing your ratio. If you're getting acrylic in your brush, that means A, your bead is probably too wet, or it's too dry, and you're forcing that brush into the acrylic. Your brush is a guide. It's not a paintbrush. You're not painting with acrylic here, okay? You're using that brush as a mode of transportation for the monomer and the powder bead to get to the nail, and then to gently maneuver it and manipulate it into the shape you want it. This brush, if you ever push it down into the acrylic and it does the stanky leg and split open like this, you're doing too much. It should never do that. This thing should never open up its legs, okay? It needs to be together. Close them, okay? If you do that, then you know that you're either too wet, too dry. Why does this all sound very kinky?
I have a question, because I noticed your brush is flat now.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a new brush from the shop. She recommended a size 10 because I had 8. Now I bought a Kolinsky from I think here, like a year ago, but it's puffy. Like it's not
Because
like
it hasn't been pinched.
Oh.
And if you bought it from Mr. Johnny, I highly recommend that you take it back to him and have him pinch it for you. He has a vise at his store. Do not use pliers. Don't do it yourself. That's how you're going to end up with a brush that is doing some funky stuff. Because pliers, if you notice, like this, it'll pinch it here more and not pinch it over here. A vise closes all at one time. Like he literally cranks it, right? He'll take the brush and he knows the pressure to do it and everything because he's been doing nails for a long time. If you use pliers or try to do it yourself to squeeze it, you're probably not going to get even pressure, and then you're going to be saying like someone did yesterday on the live, like, I ruined my brush. What do I do with it? I'm like, cut it and turn it into a cleanup brush. I don't know. Trim off some of the hairs and use it as a nail art brush. I don't know, because you can't do nothing with it if it's not evenly distributed anymore. So don't try to pinch it yourself. But my brushes, which these are the school brushes that you're going to get because these are cheap. They're like $10. And I'm not going to be upset if you destroy it. Well, you won't be upset. Well, you're going to fix it. We can fix it. All brushes can be fixed, okay? Just don't trim it. We'll get there in a second, okay? We'll get to the brushes in a second. But yes, this is pinched. And I prefer a pinched brush because with a pinched brush, you can flatten out the brush and make it more wide. Or when it's wet in the monomer, you can kind of spin it a little bit and give it a point. Whereas the big old round brushes, it's just round. It's kind of harder to get it to flatten out. You can, but you train these brushes just like you train your hair. If Emily got a part, I guarantee you if she try to do this like this, in 5 seconds it's gonna, mine does that too. I have to wet my brush, put some hairspray on or something to make that part go away. I just leave it like that because I've just been wearing it like that for so long. So these are natural hairs here, okay? But you can untrain it too if we want our hair to go like that and stay like that, what do we have to do to it? Put some heat on it. Some heat, like you're gonna take a curling iron and if you don't want it straight anymore, what do? Put some heat on it. Or if we want it straight, if it's curly, what do? So that's what we do with these too. You can always fix a brush. If the brush is doing weird stuff, put it in some scalding hot water. Boop, straight. That's a little trick for y'all, okay? Now, let's move right along here. All right. So we already talked about our powders and how there's so many different ranges of colors and things like that, okay? Where are my glasses? Oh, they're right here. I don't need them right now. I do kind of. I had contacts in yesterday. I was like, what's wrong with my eyes? I know because I put my glasses on with my contacts. I was like, what is wrong? Totally forgot I had them in. All right, so blending colors. You guys can always custom blend colors. That's what we did back in the day. We would literally take pigments from, like I still do it. MAC pigments, those big ones, and when you can go to the MAC counter, makeup counter, and get the pure pigments that you can mix into make lipstick, all kinds of stuff. We would do the same thing with and mix that into our acrylic powders to make colors. All right. You can also put inks and different alcohol inks into your monomer to change a powder color. Okay. I tell y'all all the time, don't spend your money on glitter. Don't spend it on all these different brands and all this stuff because you can make any color you want. Okay, you literally can. I mean, I've seen people, and I do not recommend this, but I've seen people put gel polish in their monomer to change the color. Don't do that, because now you got uncured gel on your skin or on your nails. Okay, don't do that. But there's several different ways to make your own colors. Okay, now we talked about primer. Let's touch bases on this again. Y'all remember what primer does? What does it do? Y'all like, what does it do? It assists with adhesion, all right? And it goes on the natural nail, remember, and you got to be careful because it is a what? Corrosive to the skin. All right. All of them, even though it may say acid free or no acid, it still has acid in it. Okay. Remember that? All right. So again, those two different types of primers are acid and non-acid or acid free. All right. So when you're applying that primer, we talked about this last week too. One of the things, well, I have my primer. It's called All Bond here. Let me just put this, give y'all an example of when I apply primer, what it looks like, okay? Because you want to be very careful applying primer, right? It's a little bit sketchy here. Make sure y'all can see. There we go. All right. So this is my primer. When you put primer on, y'all, be careful. You do not need to go directly from the jar and then apply it to the nail. It will go everywhere. I always dab it off on the towel and then proceed to apply the primer. And stay far away from, when I say far away, about a quarter of a millimeter, about a millimeter away from the skin, okay? It will travel to where it needs to go, okay? I see it all the time. They're just going crazy with the primer. One of our students yesterday, Jasmine, she told a story and she showed a picture of where she actually had spilled her primer on her chair and she went to go get something to clean it up. She thought she got it all off and she sat down in the chair, sat there for, doing a client, and all of a sudden she started feeling this burn. It ate a hole through her pants and then through and burned her skin, and she had a tattoo. I ain't gonna tell you what it said on her ass that is now defunct. It doesn't say what it used to say because it burned the tattoo right off her butt. Okay, I was like, you got tattoos on your butt, girl? I would have never. Not you. You got one on your butt cheek? I was like, let me see. No, I'm just kidding. She showed me the picture. It was a burn. She had to go to the ER. It was a burn that burned through her skin, and now the tattoo is burned off too. So there's a story for you. You gotta be very, very careful. All right. You will be able to take some of that once you don't dip it in for every nail. You might be able to get that primer cover 4 or 5 nails with just that one dip, and then dip again, drain it, and then the rest of the nails. Okay. So you don't need to be using a whole lot. Too much primer can cause lifting. Okay. Too much primer can cause lifting. Think about it. Y'all ever tried to or accidentally prepped and primed a nail and then tried to glue the tip on and it just wouldn't stick? Because it ain't gonna stick if it's wet primer on there. It's just not. The glue's not gonna stick. So you don't need too much primer. Okay. We already talked about that. You want to allow that primer to dry. All right. So let's talk about abrasives. What are abrasives? Files. All right. So you're gonna need files in order to do your acrylic nails because you're gonna need to shape it and file it. All right. Kudos to all those nail techs out there. They love to do that. They're like, no filing. I'm like, and bitch, you still got to file it. You still got to file it. Put some polish on it then. Right. Let's see how perfect it is then. They kill me with that. Yeah, they be like, look at my application, no filing. I'm like, and you still got to file it. So what you want us to do? Oh, that's so impressive. And you still got to bring out a file and shape them nails. So anyhow, you're gonna need files. So you got which again, I probably have done that in my career. Look at my application now. I look back at it like, what a dumbass. Anyway, so you're gonna need you some files and buffers. Okay. Coarse, medium, fine grit. I tend to lean more towards the medium grit. So when it comes to grits, you're going to want to have a few different ones in your drawers, okay? 100 to 180, all right, is going to be the sweet spot for when you're filing and shaping. For instance, these files literally say 100, 180. Why does it say 100, 180? Well, one side is 100, one is 180. You can literally feel the difference, okay, when you hold a file. Now, I like to file and shape with a 100 grit file. I've seen people use 80 grit. That is unnecessary. Never necessary. I am so terrified when using an 80 grit file on some, because I've seen people, I mean, I've even, that's all I had in my drawer, and I'm like, oh God, I'm so, like, what am I gonna do? Okay. A lot of you guys are having issues with hand filing, and you're cutting your clients or cutting yourself when you're filing, and your nails end up sore and stuff. My recommendation, let me just show you, is you should always season your files. Do you know what I mean by that? Take a file off all the rough the edges of your file, okay? Every part of it that you're going to use on the client, okay? And make it so that it's not sharp. You will see, I'm gonna do this one and pass it around, and you'll see the difference by just doing this, okay? Feel this file now, that, and everybody could just kind of feel what that file feels like after it's been seasoned, okay? So I recommend you do that not only with your files, but also your buffers, okay? You see the difference? So now you can get in there in that cuticle area, and you can actually, you know, file that client's nail really, really tight in that cuticle area and not cut them. Now you can still cut them now, just be careful, okay? All right. So you can do the same thing with your buffers. I don't like the little tiny orange buffers but you know, you guys, we use those bigger ones are more expensive. I eat that cost when I'm doing a nail, because client's nails, because I throw it away after every client. You know, nowadays you can get those little tiny ones, but those bigger ones, you definitely want to file off all the corners of those files, because you can actually cut a client with a buffer too. Okay, you want to be careful. All right, because when you're using the buffer, you're putting a lot of pressure on there. Okay, now we all know, we talked about those shiners and stuff. I do not use those. I think they are a waste of money, and like, they're expensive, and you got to throw them away. You're supposed to. So just, you know, get you some fine buffers. Now, dapping dishes, forms, and tips. These are other things that you will need when you're doing acrylic nails. Nail tips come in all different shapes, different sizes, all different colors, right? You've seen these colored tips. Some of them have designs on them and things like that. And obviously we use those by attaching it with glue, okay? I've seen nail techs, they've started to use gel to attach it. I don't recommend that. What the hell?
Like a regular tip?
Yeah, and they're using gel. Like, you're getting it on the skin, yo. Like, what the hell, Leonce? You're getting it on the skin. Like, you don't want gel on the skin, y'all. So stop doing that. Y'all just do anything that y'all see on the internet. Jeez. All right, now don't do that, okay? Then you got nail forms. Obviously, we're going to talk more about tips and forms later, all right? But nail forms, you're going to use those to sculpt. They come in different shapes, sizes, colors, lengths, different materials, all kinds of stuff. And then also a dampen dish, okay? Someone said, can I show them how we did the file? You take the file and you just use another file and file right here. Just throw it to me. Don't hit me. Hey, all right, yeah, you take it like this on all the sides, all right? Now, your dampen dishes, again, they come in different types of shapes and sizes, y'all. Again, smaller the better. And don't just have one. If you're doing, listen, if you've ever done an encapsulation and you're doing like glitter, a glitter acrylic, and then next thing you know, you're fishing the glitter out of your monomer because you got to do the pink part, and you don't want glitter in the pink part and all of that stuff. Different dampen dishes for different colors, okay? If you're going to be doing pink and white set, you do not want to use the same monomer for your white that you will for your pink, because this monomer will turn cloudy and white, and then by the time you get to that 10th nail, the whole nail just going to be a cloudy mess, pink and cloudy white, okay? So different dampen dishes for different purposes, and make sure you guys clean them out after you use them. That monomer, it does evaporate, but it leaves a sticky film in there. I always clean mine out. You guys, as far as students are concerned, I can't tell you. First of all, let me just tell y'all what these are. These are from IKEA, and they are for those little tea candles. I buy them by the case, like 300 of them, because you guys go through these. once I see them sitting in the drawer and they got acrylic all stuck to them, I just throw them away because I'm not cleaning that. I just throw them away. But you should clean them out after every use, okay?
You just clean out like alcohol or
Acetone or alcohol, whichever, just to get the film out of it, okay? The stickiness, because you don't want it that if you and I've done it before, just in a rush, forgot, and then I go to pour my monomer in there, and there's like this film of monomer floating at the top, and you're like, damn, now I got to throw this monomer away because it's not, it's nasty. All right. Again, your nail brushes. The most common brush that you guys are going to see when it comes, especially when you're a beginner, is like a size 8, 10. Okay. The bigger you get, obviously, the more experience you have. You may go up to like a 12 or a 14. I sell 12 and 14 sizes. Students, once they feel more comfortable after, because I don't know, y'all love these brushes. I love them. They're cheap, but I love them. They work really, really good. And the bristles on them are just, I don't know, I really like them. But once you upgrade and you get you a big girl brush, right, the more expensive, $30, $40 brush, you generally go to like a 12 or a 14, okay? And it really, what brush I use really depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing, which I never do, extendos, I'm going to use a bigger brush, right? If it's a really long set of nails, because I will do long nails, but I'm not doing no 3XLs. I ain't got time. And most people don't have the money that I'm going to charge for that. Not in one sitting. Can I make a payment on that? Because it takes too much time. But if I'm doing long nails, I might use a bigger brush because, I want to pick up a bigger bead to apply to the nail tip area so that I can, shape it out and everything. But it just really depends on what I'm doing. If I'm encapsulating, doing a lot of little fun stuff inside of the nail, I might use smaller brushes so that I can do what I need to do. But, it just really depends. But my favorite size brush is a 16. That's the brush that I've had for years, and I always lean towards that brush, is a 16. But again, I can do a set of nails and there won't be nothing on this paper but a little wet spot from where I just cleaned it, and that's it. Okay, no waste, no nothing. When you get to that point, then you can kind of upgrade to a bigger brush. All right. You're also going to, you guys remember, when you're disposing of these liquids, okay, make sure that you're picking them up with a paper towel, like soaking it up with a paper towel and throwing the paper towel away. When I was in nail school, they made us put all of our soaked paper towel, monomer soaked paper towels in a Ziploc bag because it was a cosmetology school and they hated the nail section over there. It was like, it stink over there. I'm like, y'all's perms stink too. Right. You know what I'm saying? What you mean? We got y'all, ain't nobody telling y'all stink, But we had to put ours in a Ziploc bag so that the odor didn't waft in the room. Okay. So let's see. And then I also try to keep the liquids and the powders separate from each other in case they spill or something like that. Okay. If I showed y'all my setup in my spare room in my house, we might have to do a field trip. I don't know. All right. So, it's ridiculous. One of my friends was over there the other day and he was like, that is nail heaven in there.
You don't have a picture?
No. I usually go live from in there though. If you watch my videos on YouTube, you can see it. It's nail heaven. I've got walls of glitter and acrylic powders and chrome and drawers and drawers and drawers full of stuff. But I'm very meticulously organized, right? I know where everything is, every single thing. Stickers and the foils and all my gels and all my powders and all my this and all that. It's heaven. It's literally nail heaven. We do need to go on a field trip though. Only thing about it is, you Saturday folks, it really sucks because nothing is open on Saturdays, like nail supply stores, not the Asian owned ones, because Saturday is the busiest day in the nail salon and no one goes to shop. So Mr. Johnny closes it. Most of them are closed on Saturdays. But there is a place in Atlanta I usually take y'all, but we don't go. You just have to come on a day that we're not in school, because I always go. I go once a month, and sometimes I invite y'all. All right, so maintenance. Let's talk about maintenance. This is really important. Maintenance, repair, and removal, okay? Fill-ins. Well, first of all, let's talk about maintenance. Maintenance, let's normalize every 2 to 3 week nail maintenance, okay? 2 weeks is when you're bougie, okay? And you care about your nails and you just like changing them a lot, okay? 3 weeks is maintenance. 4 weeks is pushing it. 5 weeks, we're gonna have a conversation. I might fire you, okay, as a client, because you don't care about your nails, and I can't care about your nails more than you do. And you've been trying to make me work harder for the same amount of money as everybody else that comes in here every 2 weeks. No. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. First of all, a fill-in or a backfill, you can call a refill, fill-in, backfill, whatever you want to call it, all right, is something that you do to maintain your nails. It is necessary, and unfortunately, and I see this a lot, especially with new nail techs, they love to say on their profiles, I don't do fill-ins. Well, why don't you do fill-ins? And I'm going to tell you why they don't do fill-ins. Because they don't know how. Fill-ins are hard. Fill-ins are not easy. And when I say a typical fill-in, like if a client comes every 2 weeks, like they're supposed to, oh yeah, easy peasy. You know, you just push it back the cuticle, go in and you etching the nail that's grown back there. You're going to reshape and file and do all that stuff. And lay that acrylic be done in 30 minutes, right? But that's not how it normally goes, right? Clients usually come in with a broken nail or 2 or 5. 5 weeks later, the nails done grew out so much because you done filled them in probably every 5 weeks now for the past 6 months. And their nails, because they don't want to get a new set because y'all ain't charging what y'all supposed to charge. You should be charging good money. Make them get a new set every now and then. They don't want to soak them off. I don't want to soak it off. I don't want to see my nails growing under here and all that nastiness, right? So then they break a nail. Their nails are hooked over like this, and then you fix it, and now that nail's straight, the other one's curved, and you don't know how to make it look like the rest of them because you just don't know how, right? And so what I'm getting at here is you should be charging just as much. My fill-ins usually cost more than a full set. It's more work. You've got to do this is maintenance, okay? Right? So like when you first bought, for instance, I just bought, y'all know about a motorcycle, right? I love my motorcycle, Stella. So she's getting her first oil change on Thursday, among other things that I bought for my birthday for myself. I'm going to be real loud going down the road. Next time y'all see me, I'm getting a new exhaust. Anyway, but she's getting an oil change, okay? Well, when you first buy something brand new, that first oil change and that first maintenance, they ain't got to do much to it, right? It's new. Just, pop the oil out, put some new oil in. That's it. But when you done had that bike for, let's just, instead of weeks, let's talk years, 6 years, you might have to do a little bit more. Now you got to change the brakes, and you got to, put some new pads on the brakes and change the oil, brake fluid and the coolant and all that stuff. You might have to change a tire. Well, that's what it is when it comes to nails that's been on for 5-6 weeks. You could have came in 2 weeks ago, or at 2 weeks, and I wouldn't have to charge you all this extra money. But now you waited 6 years, 6 weeks to get your nails done. And they come in so proud. They be like, look, no lifting. You a lie. You done glued that shit down. I see the glue. Now I got to repair 3 of your nails that you glued back on because they cracked them and you didn't want to come and get them fixed because that's cost you money. Now I got to take those off, repair those. You want them to look the same as the rest of them claws you got over there because it done been on for so long. And now I've got to clean out from under your nails. I got to reshape them because you had them on so long. They're no longer square. Now they're squoval. And now you want them sharp and crispy. I got to, ma'am, we about to take these off and start fresh. And then I'm going to charge you for a soak off. You know what though? It's necessary. Y'all stop popping these people's nails off. Y'all stop doing that. Okay. But a refill, my refills or fill-ins, when on my booking site, if you were to look at it, cost the same amount, even if it's 2 weeks, as a full set. Because a full set is easy. A full set, you glue it on, it's fresh, it's crisp, they look perfect. I can tell a nail set that's been refilled 9 times out of 10. You can just tell the nails look different. They tend to, and you've got to be able to, as a skilled nail tech, make them look brand new again. Why y'all think plastic surgeons charge so much? You want me to take them floppy titties and make them look brand new again? What? Oh, I'm about to charge you. You want to look 25 again, Miss 72-year-old? Oh, you're going to pay $50,000 for this facelift. Think about it, right? I would much rather do a boob job on a girl who's 20, where I ain't got to lift them and change the size of this and move this around and pull that and tuck that, than somebody that's, 80 years old that wants to look 20 again. Think about it that way, okay? And that's why they charge you for that, all right? So you should stop charging. I don't know where this came from. I remember back in the day, it was $25 for a full set, $15 for a fill-in. That was a long time ago, y'all. Those days are over, okay? Thank God. $25, $15 for the fill-in. Not in my chair. It's $25 for the full set. It might be $35 for the fill-in if you come in with 3 broke nails. Because let's think about it. Let's put it in a nice round number. Let's just say you charge $100 for a full set, right? How much does each nail cost? This is simple math, y'all. $10. Well, you broke one. Why am I only charging you $3 to repair it? Because that's how it used to be, $3 for a repair. Well, I guess back then it was $25 for a set. So, yeah, $2, $3 for a repair. But you sit in my chair and I charge you $100 for a set. If you got 3 broken nails, guess how much more money you got to pay? You might as well get a fresh set. $130 for a refill? What? Yep. You should have been in here 3 weeks ago. And you over here trying to be a backyard mechanic over here, a hotel plastic surgeon, and fixing your own nails, gluing stuff down, and now I got to fix it. It's the reason why doctors don't go behind other doctors' work. You shouldn't either. I don't work over other people's work. Nobody. I don't know what that is I don't know. A lot of people are using colored acrylics and things. I don't know if you got a big old fat infection up underneath your nail, a greenie, something going on, and then you gonna blame me? No, ma'am. That'll be the first thing they say. Mary Negron gave me a green nail. Bitch, no, I did not. You didn't have that. You did not. You will learn that lesson. Y'all don't work over other people's work. Soak that stuff off. It's a requirement. You cannot come in here them nails got to be soaked off. And I don't let my clients soak their own nails off because they come in, they done popped them off and ripped them off, or they halfway. No. It's just always funny to me, and it's always the people who don't do nails that love to tell you how you should do nails, or I don't understand. Well, I know you don't understand because you didn't pay $6,000 to go to school like I did, and you didn't learn from one of the best in the city. Okay. You better use that one. Well, you go pay $6,000, and that's cheap because I'm in esthetician school, and let me just tell you, the school that I'm going to, they charge $17,000 for nail school. Sure do, right over there in Snellville, sure do. $17,000 for nail school, huh? Did I pay in full? Hell no, I'm on payment plan just like that. I'm on a monthly payment plan at that. They don't do weekly. Just make sure you make your payment so I can make my payment. How about that? I got cash. Can't pay them people cash. Anyhow, I'm just saying. So, again, let me just reiterate. You guys need to be charging what you're worth, okay? When it comes to, so let's just take the whole what I'm getting done out of it. I charge by the hour. Tattoo artists charge by the hour. They don't give a damn what you getting. If it's a big piece, hey, I'm gonna quote you 8 hours. It's gonna be $600, whatever, or $800 for. I charge $100 an hour for tattoo work. Everybody does that. Lawyers charge by the hour. Doctors charge basically by the hour. I mean, if you think about it. So I personally want to make a minimum of $1 per minute. A minimum. That does not include, that's just for the service. That does not include if you want to get stoned, because now I got to charge you for that. The stones and, because my salon was called the House of Bling. So you know what I did on everybody. Nobody came to me that didn't want bling. Barely. Now I did have those clients that they just loved the way I did nails. But most of my clients, the ones that spend a lot of money, got bling on their nails. So that's where the money came in, the expensive part. But yeah, you should be charging for it. I really don't even like when people ask me, well, what should I be charging? What do you want to make per hour? You want to make $13 an hour? Cause that's what they paying over there at McDonald's. You know how I know? Because they hiring, they got a big ass sign, hit this QR code, make $11 to $15 per hour. I was like, man, I wish I would. I would have my OnlyFans before I work at McDonald's for $11 an hour. Okay? No shade to anybody work at McDonald's. Please, I need y'all to make sure y'all put my ketchup in my bag. This morning I had to throw them hash browns away. I had no ketchup. I don't eat, who don't eat hash browns with no ketchup? Anyway. So, what do you want to make per hour? And think about how long it takes you to do that service. If it takes you 2 hours to do a full set, and then what do you want to make per hour?
So do you factor in how people charge by the length, short, medium, long?
Absolutely, because that's more product. You got to also factor in how much you're spending on your products, right? A client, I've never understood why people charge for shaping. I don't give a shit about the shape. That's not going to take me more time or less time necessarily. And someone asked me about it. They're like, well, round nails and oval nails are so hard to do. No, they're not. You're just not holding your file right. There's a certain, you can literally hold your file at a certain angle and get a perfect oval nail or a perfect almond nail. Y'all be doing all this and trying to be, Picasso and stuff and sculpt and stuff. And you ain't got to do that. You literally just if you hold your file straight, you get a square nail. You hold it at an angle, you get an oval nail. You hold it more at an angle, you're going to get a almond nail when you're filing under the tip. There's all types of different ways to do shaping, but I don't charge for shaping, but I do charge for length because that's going to also add more time. It's going to add more product. I'm not giving you my product away for free. Okay. So you got to think about that as well. You know what I mean? So when it comes to, and also your environment. When you guys stop doing nails illegally in your house, you need to double your price. Because now you're going to have rent to pay. Now you're going to have someone taking a commission out of your whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I personally will pay you a whole lot more money to sit in a salon that has a baby grand piano with a little boy playing it, from the church over there and angels and stuff on the ceiling than I would if I had to sit and listen to your baby, play with their iPad and scream and holler all day in your kitchen. So all of that factors into price. We get into that real in detail in the business chapter. Okay. So let me not derail myself. It's the last chapter we do. Your senior project is a big part of it. Okay. Y'all saw with them senior projects, right? When that first day of school. Mm-hmm. Okay. So some of y'all did, the ones that were seniors. All right. So when it comes to repair, I am very specific about whether or not I'm going to repair a nail or not. Okay. If it's got a hairline fracture, is what I like to call, like a little crack, I'm taking it off. I'm doing a new one. And again, I like to explain things in ways in which we can understand. Okay. So before I got my motorcycle, I had a Tesla. Okay. Brand new Tesla. Had it for 1 year when somebody hit me in the back and totaled it. Eventually they totaled it, right? But they wanted to repair that Tesla. I said, I don't want no junky little put back together Tesla. No, you're not going to repair nothing. Y'all going to total this car out. because the repair was going to cost just as much, about $25,000, almost $30,000 because they hit me in the back and the battery was damaged. That car don't run without the battery. It ain't no engine in that car. Ain't nothing but a shell with a battery on the bottom of it. So the part that costs the most in that car is the battery. So I was like, no, because it'll never be the same. It ain't gonna ride right. I don't want it. And plus it was a lease, okay? And I had leased it for 2 years, and I was just gonna get another one anyway. And I was like, I'm not riding around. If I'm riding in a lease and it ain't even, I don't want a new one. So they ended up totaling it out anyway, because when I bought the car, it was worth $80,000, okay? And my payment reflected that. It was $1,000 a month car payment. It belonged to the school. It was a lease. It was my work car.
Smart man.
Yeah, it was 100% deductible because of it. Y'all gonna learn this stuff in the business chapter. Miss Mary don't make, I qualify for food stamps. But my business though. If I can't write it off, I don't buy it. I qualify for food stamps, but I literally live a very nice life. I fly everywhere I want. I do, and all of that is tax deductible, every bit of it. Okay, but when it comes to repairing a nail, let me not derail again. We are going to get a new one. Why would? Because if a nail repair is going to cost just as much as a new nail, get them people a new nail. First of all, if you crack a nail or if it's broken and you try to, go in and add a little acrylic, it's going to break again. Same spot every time. They laughing. I am in the poverty level. Okay? Even my hair. When I go get my hair done, I drive every bit of the miles is deductible. You know why? Because I need my hair done so I look good on my business internet. Don't mind me today. I'm a little hungover from last night. I ain't gonna lie. Tax write off on that too. Huh? What you mean shot call? I don't do shots. I'm a wino. Anyway, so I'm gonna give you a new nail. Okay, I'm just not gonna repair. If it's something like maybe it chipped on the tip, I might can add a little bit of acrylic to it, just kind of to fix the shape or whatever. Yeah, but if it's got a crack in it or if it's lifted, that's another thing with lifting, y'all. From the back, when it lifts from the back. A lot of y'all are taking your nippers and nipping it and pulling it and nipping it, and it's just making it worse. It's still lifted. You don't want any lifted spots. If it's lifted completely from the back, like there's certain ways that you repair that, right? You're going to take your e-file and try to dig a little ditch right before where it's lifted and then pluck it off. Because if you keep trying to nip it, it's just steady lifting, and you're going to have a little open spot where air is under there and water can get under there, and that's when you get greenies, okay? So just take it off, do a new one, all right, and charge for it. Tell them they should be more careful with their nails. Like I say this all the time, there's no such thing as the proper length for nails. Clients will say, well, what's too long? If you come in here with a bunch of broken nails, your nails are too long for your lifestyle. You do not need to have nails that long. You need to shorten them if you keep breaking them. If you keep breaking them and they're short, then you don't need nails at all. Stop coming in here. You are not the client for me. I do not like doing repairs all day long. That is not my thing. I don't generally have to do that. I do have one of my clients, she just started coming back to me because she, wasn't doing nails. I was just dealing with y'all all the time. I wasn't doing no nails during the week, but now I got all this time during the week and I miss doing it. So I started taking clients again, some of my faves. And I called them up and said, all right, I'm doing nails. They're like, I'm on the way. I'm on the way right now. I'm about to soak these nails off. I'm on the way for the ones that had got it. Well, she had a baby, Tiffany. She had a baby. I haven't seen her since she had the baby. So when she sat down, I said, well, how you want your nails? She was like, girl, I don't know. I haven't had nails on since I had this baby. And I said, well, you used to get them pretty long. And she was like, yeah, I don't think I can get them long no more because I got this little baby, And the baby's like 3 now. And so we did them kind of medium length, about right there. She came back with 3 broke nails, and I said, what the hell? She was like, I don't know. She was like, I be running around with this kid and I don't know what happened. I just 3 broke nails. Girl, she said, I think we need to go shorter. I said, yeah, I think so, because that ain't like you. She never broke nails before, but she didn't never have a kid either now. So her lifestyle requires her to run around and, she was like, I got to do this car seat thing. And she's like, I can't even get the baby in the car seat. I said, yeah, you got to cut those down. Okay. So, as far as clients had needed lots of repairs and stuff like that, you may need to have a conversation with them about their shape, length, and all that stuff. Now, if they want to keep breaking their nails and paying for it, that's up to them. Me personally, I don't want to pay for broken nails if it was me. All right. Now, when it comes to fixing certain things, like I said, you can use a form to fix a nail if you're going to fix a nail. Again, it really requires a lot of skill to repair some certain types of nails. So why do it? Why do it at all? Okay, just doing a fresh set. Now, when we're soaking off, you guys, please don't do what this lady is doing right here. If you work for me and I see you with a big old bowl of acetone, I'm gonna fire you. Okay, that's expensive. Acetone is not cheap. When you buy a gallon of it, okay, it's not expensive, but it's not cheap. And you do not need that much acetone. Get you one of these, okay? I love these. You can get these on Amazon for like $5 for 2 of them, okay? You don't need 2, okay? You can only work on one hand at a time, but, I'm not one of those people that just puts a client's hand and make them sit there. I ain't got time for that. This is not like I got another client sitting here. I'm going to have one soaking while I'm filing the other one off. And then I'm going to switch hands and do this one while this one's soaking and blah, 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 blah. So you only need one. But this has a little well in it. A little bowl underneath. Put warm water in there, or, not hot, but warm enough where you can put your fingers in it, because I put hot water from that thing back there and I was like, my fingers are burning. Because acetone, it feels cold, but it's not really cold. Do not heat up acetone in the microwave. What are y'all doing? Y'all want to die? Y'all want to blow up something? Like, people do that, girl. They do it. Okay? Don't do that. Get you some warm, really hot or really warm water from the tap. Our water comes straight from the gates of hell. Put it in here, and then see these little tiny wells right here? Fill it up just enough to where it touches the client's fingers. We are not soaking their hands off. We're soaking their nails off, okay? So put that in there, and then what does heat do? Remember, heat it speeds up. It's a catalyst, right? So to anything basically in chemistry. So it will speed up the process and make it. And these are really, really convenient, okay? Get you one of these. Or the old-fashioned way, which is cotton ball on acetone and a cotton ball, wrap it up with some foil. The foil is going to trap that heat in. And, that's old school. You guys are so lucky that they changed the state board. There's no more soak off on the state board anymore. That was the most stressful part of the state board, because they gave you 20 minutes to do it, right? But most of the time you're just sitting there waiting for it to soak, because they don't let you use an e-file. So you're sitting there holding the hand for like 5 minutes at least, checking it, taking a little off, checking it, taking a little off. It's stressful. It's more stressful than any other part of the state board. So they took that part off. All right. Yeah, y'all are lucky with that. So that's all I have for you as far as the lecture is concerned. Okay, so now let's get to our actual demonstration. So this sheet right here, you guys are going to get this sheet. Again, like I said, take this sheet home. Take your brush home. If you don't have I know y'all got a brush. You can just give it to me later. Okay. Y'all probably all have a brush at home, I'm sure, but I want you guys to practice with what you use the most, okay? This sheet right here, I have laminated it, but for those that, want to print it off, because I actually do have this where people can print it off for free. I got a link somewhere. I'll put that in my link tree. But you can put it just cover it with like a gallon bag, a Ziploc bag or something. I prefer to have it laminated so the beads don't move off of it. But I've laminated it for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all, hopefully I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll give somebody mine when I'm done with it because I've got 6 in here.
To, the shop to get them to press
Mm-hmm.
the brush,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Do I need to tell them anything specific?
Just tell them you want your brush pinched. Say you bought it there and you want it pinched, and he'll pinch it for you.
Young people and an older man, I always see.
They'll pinch it for you.
Okay.
Just tell them you want it pinched. I'm gonna give whoever don't have one this when I'm done, cause I'm just letting y'all look at it for now, cause I'm about to show you guys what we're doing today. All right. Now, first things first, you're gonna get this brush. When you get this brush, and I'm gonna open up somebody's for now just so I can show y'all. When you get this brush, it comes with this little protective cover on it, right? And it also is going to be stiff, all right, because it's got this adhesive on it that makes it easier for transport so it doesn't lose its shape, all right? When you first get it, you're going to clean the brush off, all right, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a minute, okay? Matter of fact, I'll show you now. I'm gonna take some acetone. Matter of fact, let's do this all together. Y'all come on up here and get this stuff. Go ahead and get it, but don't open it up. I want y'all to watch what I'm gonna be doing, okay? So everybody get a damping dish. Everybody get a damping dish. Everybody get a monomer. This was my monomer from yesterday. Everybody get a brush. Everybody grab a powder. So I'll take this one. And yep, powder, monomer, brush, damping dish. Okay, oh, and then y'all need these too. Everybody get one of these little puppy pads. Okay, these are literally puppy pads from Sam's. Okay, I prefer these over the very expensive nail ones that you can buy. Okay, because I can cut these into little shapes and everything. Okay, everybody got what they need? Is there enough? Is there?
Oh, I need some of this pad.
Oh, wait.
She got it.
My bad. I tried to take my bad.
Okay. All right. Now, at the end of every table over here, there is a bottle of alcohol or acetone. So get the acetone. Probably better to do the acetone. Okay. And everybody just get a little bit of acetone, and there's enough for everybody. Should be.
Okay, so we should just be able to share the same bottle.
Yeah. Just take a little squirt of it, and we're gonna put it in our damping dish. Okay. Now, I've got monomer in my damping dish from yesterday, so I'm just going to use one of these glass ones, okay? Shoot, I need a squirt. Yeah, it's enough acetone for everybody. It should be on everybody's cart, enough acetone for everybody. So just take some acetone, squirt it into your damping dish. Now, we're going to pour this out. It is. I'll give you another one. They are porcelain.
But if I can get the thing.
You got to it's not twist, it's just like push.
Here you go, Anissa.
Got it? That's what I thought too.
If it's broke, you can just throw it away. It ain't no good if it's broke. Okay. So I got a little acetone here in this container, in this damping dish, all right? And what you're gonna do, before you don't put it right into the acetone yet, okay? First, go ahead and we're gonna kind of crack and be gentle, okay? Be gentle, don't pull. We're just gonna kind of crack and get some of this, squeeze some of that, like when you got gel in your hair and you're trying to separate it from, make it so it's soft again, do that, okay? And fluff it up and then do like this to get all that little adhesive out of there. All right? Everybody do that before you put it in the acetone. If you put it in the acetone right now, it's just gonna it'll be real, make the acetone real gummy. Have little stray hairs, which you might have little stray hairs on it. Don't worry, they should straighten out. If they don't straighten out, then we put it in hot water over there, and it will just dip it in there and it will straighten it out just like it would if you were straightening with like a straightening comb. You can, but let me just tell you, I would much